To outlast a single lifetime, you have to pour your identity into something that cannot rot. You have to trap human ambition inside liquid metal and let it freeze. This is the monument to Erasmo of Narni, better known as Gattamelata. It stands in a public square in Padua, a staggering piece of bronze engineering. But Gattamelata was a condottiere, a mercenary commander who fought for the highest bidder. He sits in the armor of classical antiquity. In his right hand, he grips a baton of command. The artist deliberately posed a hired soldier to mimic a triumphant Roman Caesar. For the 1,000 years prior to this casting, public glorification on this scale had a strict requirement. You had to be a canonized saint, or you had to have royal blood. By the 14th century, the political reality of the Italian peninsula had splintered. Traditional empires lost their grip, and the landmass broke into dozens of isolated, volatile city-states. Self-made despots and wealthy mercenaries stepped into the gap. They took power through force and cunning, but they lacked the legal right of kings. Because their rule was illegitimate on paper, they used art to manufacture the physical evidence of their right to lead. Before this shift, human personality was largely submerged beneath the spell of race and religious duty. You were a piece of a larger spiritual whole. Your individual identity was secondary to your rank. Medieval art reflects this anonymity. This ornate gold reliquary was crafted for devotion, yet the human figures carved into its sides are identical and interchangeable. The rise of the Italian despots broke that anonymity. When birthright no longer guarantees power, the only things that keep a ruler alive are raw talent and personal merit. The rigid collective of the Middle Ages dissolved, leaving a vacuum. In its place, a new political currency emerged in Italy, the pursuit of personal glory. This pursuit of glory became a deliberate industry. The ruling elite realized that earthly fame could be engineered and secured for centuries if they hired the right scholars and artists. The physical landscape of public worship began to pivot. Pilgrims who once traveled to see the bones of martyrs were now joined by crowds obsessing over the graves and birthplaces of secular thinkers. Look at the marble tomb of Dante Alighieri. He was a secular writer, exiled for his politics, yet his resting place commands the same reverent, altar-like presentation previously reserved for the holiest members of the church. The illegitimate rulers of Italy recognized a transaction. By financing poets and sculptors, a despot could effectively purchase the same level of eternal reverence for themselves. Art was repurposed as a tool for political propaganda, designed to manufacture immortality for whoever could afford the bronze and the marble. This propaganda was often handheld. Despots commissioned bronze medals, like this one featuring the self-made Duke of Milan, Francesca Sforza. The artist avoids a generic heroic jawline. Instead, they record Sforza's specific proportions: the heavy double chin, sharp nose, and tall cap. This is his unique identity carved into metal. His son, Ludovico, applied the same branding in white marble. His distinct profile was permanently set into the stonework of his domain, ensuring no one could erase his face from the historical record. These testaments to the individual soon dominated public squares. In cities like Florence, freestanding secular statues replaced religious icons as the primary focus. By capturing the exact human form in stone and bronze, these rulers successfully forged their specific, unalterable identities into the physical record of the future. But an identity that demands to live forever requires constant feeding. The drive to leave a permanent mark rapidly mutated into an uncontrolled, violent obsession. Consider the Tempio Malatestiano. It is a white marble facade ordered by the tyrant Sigismondo Malatesta, a project that turned a Christian church into a monument dedicated to himself and his mistress. Contemporary writers called this the demonic thirst for greatness. Men orchestrated massacres and committed spectacular atrocities, driven by the belief that an infamous legacy was better than total obscurity. The palaces and statues of the Italian Renaissance are more than beautiful artworks. They are the physical evidence of a society that traded its morality for the promise of being remembered. Ultimately, the artists who manufactured this fame claimed it for themselves. On the tomb of Michelangelo, His own bust sits elevated above the allegorical figures, a monument to the creator, not the divine. The medieval age of collective anonymity ended here. In its place stood a culture that prioritized the discovery of the world and the specific nature of the individual. These monuments record the first instances of a person's name and face becoming their most valuable assets. By decoupling identity from social rank and religious duty, the Renaissance left the individual with a new, permanent task: the creation and maintenance of their own legacy.